What's that in your hand?
It's an inhaler. Asthmatics unite, Hannah.
What are you doing?
I was dancing to the music, and I thought if I dance a bit too hard, I'm probably going to need an inhaler. Has your dog had enough already? We're 26.
Yeah. There was a bird on top of the summer house. Oh, for God's sake. I did warn you that I wasn't sure how this was going to go. Because normally when we record these in the evenings, he's just in the house.
Yeah. It's a daytime recording. We haven't done one of these.
Daytime. It's very exciting.
It's just too much news for us to wait any longer, isn't there?
Is that? Because I feel like I'm going to be, this might be a bit of a League Two education for me because my head is so full of England and Stockport County and League One that League Two, I feel like this, might be an educational experience.
You're not missing much.
Well, I was going to say, like each one of our podcasts is an educational experience of some description.
There's just not much going on in League Two at the minute. So latest today. So today
there is, isn't there?
What do you mean?
There's been some signings, slightly controversial. Well, not controversial, but newsworthy signings.
Newsworthy signs. So it's Tuesday, the 2nd of July now. So an hour and a half ago is where it's started, and that's so first and foremost is Jack Payne to Colchester, which is phenomenal signing. That's the biggest signing for me of this week.
I think, I think the Cowleys at Colchester were very clear with their intention setting, kind of when they went in. It was about survival, and then, they were building on it. Obviously, they've lost Mingy in February. Oh, bloody hell. Lost Mingy in February. But, they were always then going to sign big names. They worked with Jack Payne at Lincoln before, I think you said.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was the Cowleys. And then the Cowleys left. And I think Appleton came in, and then Payne left. I'm sure. So I think the Cowleys brought him into Lincoln, if I remember rightly.
And then has he been at Charlton? He's been at Charlton, hasn't he?
Swindon and Charlton as well.
Yeah.
Bradford
gets around.
Just get around. Very, very, very good player.
Good signing for them.
Phenomenal signing for them. It's. I didn't expect it, and do you know what? There's a lot of clubs that were kind of knocking on the door of the playoffs, or maybe failed in the playoffs last season, that should be right now scratching their heads, wondering how the hell they missed that or didn't get that.
Right.
Because he's a player that can drag you to where you need to be. Yeah.
So I imagine he won't be the last of their big signings either. I mean, we were talking on, I think, both podcasts last week about the number of players that are sitting there having been released. It's now the 2nd of July, but we've gone past that 30th of June deadline, which is why, like Burton, for example, a couple of their players were announced elsewhere, gone to Walsall. And to Stockport. So that, there are teams that have been enforcing that. Not all have. Like we've seen quite a few, that so and so will be joining X team on the 1st of July.
Yeah.
Others have joined sooner, but have technically still been in contract at their old club. So I think there'll be a lot of that over the next couple of weeks in terms of it settling down. People moving because a lot of clubs have got pre-season games this weekend.
Yeah, it starts, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Have you got one?
We are playing Chorley.
Coming in your ears, Chorley FM.
In your ears, yes. We are playing Chorley, and I'm quite looking forward to it. I think.
Are you going?
Yes.
You have to have the potato pie.
I've been told a few things, and they also have a fan zone that's showing the England game afterwards.
Oh, really?
Is that,
So,
have you got peanut butter?
is one of Sophie's favourite clubs to go to. And I've got a picture of her, like, tucking into her potato. It's like almost like a chippy, like, shed in one corner.
Yeah.
And the ladies in there are absolutely lovely. But so I've got a picture of Sophie sitting there at a picnic table with her back to the game, like, happier than she's ever been at football because she's got a potato pie and, yeah.
Listen, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah. Banging chips as well, just saying.
I'll have a look. I will have a look. So yeah, as far as signings are concerned, not really anything else of note to discuss, Hannah.
Okay,
at any
right.
club.
Shall I'll start.
Oh.
Port Vale have signed Aldershot's Laurent Tolage, who
I didn't know much about him. You were talking about him.
against us because obviously we paid Aldershot twice last season. And yeah, he's Swiss, he's 22. Like, I would have been happy to have got him. Certainly, he was linked with us kind of second half of last season. And yeah, would have been delighted to pick him up. So I think that's the good one. They've obviously got Ryan Croasdale as well. A couple of others. Who else? Matty Lund has signed a new deal at Salford, which I don't know. I wasn't necessarily expecting. Kind of would have not been surprised to have seen him move on. What are the other big ones?
Nothing, Hannah.
Nothing. No. Colchester have also signed John Kaimani Gordon, who has been. He's been all over. He was at. Well, it says he was. He must have been on loan then, because wasn't he at Carlisle the year that they got promoted? And then I think, was he on loan at on loan at Sutton or Colchester? I remember seeing him play last season and him flying up the wing and be like, oh yeah, I remember that from the playoff final. But let's see if it says, he's come from Crystal Palace, replacement for Jayden Fevrier.
It was at AFC Wimbledon.
Right. Yeah, but I'm right. He was at Carlisle.
Yeah, he was at Carlisle.
He came on as a substitute and felt like a game changer for me. That was kind of when they equalised. In fact, he might have scored. But yeah, I think he's a really exciting player to watch. So that's another good signing for them. So with Jack Payne, Colchester. I mean, I did say that Colchester were my dark horses.
Are we going to talk about it, Hannah?
Are you ready now? I mean, I've been kind of skirting around it. I've also got another Gordon, Josh Gordon, from Burton to Walsall.
That's who was at Barrow. He left Barrow last summer, I believe.
Yeah, and he was at Walsall on loan from Burton last season, but scored 22 goals in 128 league appearances. But obviously, Burton have done a lot of business over the last couple of weeks. So,
right, I'm set up.
You good? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I feel like there's still some I could go with. Newport have signed their 8th player this season with Michael Spellman. Also, while we're on Newport, Graham Coughlin has kind of made a statement. Hugh Jenkins has been running their recruitment, which is interesting. He's the relatively new owner. Well, I'll say relatively new. He came in at Christmas. I think he was officially ratified by the EFL just after Christmas. He is probably the first of the new owners to kind of go through their enhanced fit and proper procedures. And so it did take an awful lot longer than it would have done normally, which is a good thing to see.
Yeah.
And he only says nice things, that he, wishes everyone well at the club. Thank you for the memories. They don't start their pre-season until the 10th of August when they take on Cheltenham, which I think will be interesting. So 8 new players.
Pre-season. That's first game at season, is that?
Oh, yeah.
A bit late to start your pre-season, that.
I had a very traumatic 24 hours. Right. So Carlisle have made a new signing. They have got, it's a player that's played for them before, and is going back. He had perhaps been, well, he had been linked with Bradford. He left Wigan.
Yeah.
Have you come to terms with this yet, Charlie White?
To be fair, I'd come to terms with it before. It
felt like it was dragging out.
Yeah, just purely because we'd have signed him by now. We'd have announced him before the fans forum last week, because that would have been
a people pleaser.
100%. So he's gone back to Carlisle. Look, here's the thing. On paper, it's a great signing. It's a risk. A 2-year deal is a risk for Charlie White because of what he's been through. And that's not trying to knock anything, but it's a big risk to sign any player on a 2-year deal when they've been through what Charlie White's been through.
And psychologically as well as physically. I mean, presumably, he'll have passed medicals, he'll have jumped through all of those hoops, but psychologically it must always kind of hang over you.
Absolutely. And the other thing for me is that he's been very, very public about Bradford in terms of speaking to Bradford fans on social media. So the night before Carlisle announced him, a Bradford fan had messaged, and the screenshot is there.
I have seen it, actually, yeah.
And they said, "Oh, you're coming back to Bradford?" And he said, "No, there was no offer, unfortunately." Now, if I'm Carlisle, I'm going, what do you mean, unfortunately? Like, all summer, he spent all summer with our players. If you go on our Instagram, he's liked every single thing Bradford have posted for the last 2 months. Everything. Look, Carlisle, they've offered him nearly £7,000 a week, Hannah. $7,000 for somebody who wanted to go somewhere else, and he wanted to play. He wanted to sign for Bradford. He did. His friends play for Bradford. He had better times at Bradford than he did Carlisle.
But this is like Burton, isn't it? If you offer enough money,
they'll come. Well, the thing is, it's not even that they offered enough money. We, this summer, apparently hadn't offered any. But I call bullshit on that, and there's no way we didn't make an offer to Charlie White.
But that's more palatable to the fans, maybe, isn't it? Than we offered less than and for him as well. We offered less than Carlisle offered. Like, for him, it makes him sound like he's not following the money. And for Bradford, it looks like it's more like, oh, well, you should have offered more. I mean, in a very kind of, what do you call it? Like, very like easy calculation.
It's
any of
damage control, isn't it?
Yeah.
What should have happened is Bradford should have, and this is where their policy on transfers is not great. Bradford should have shut it down a long time ago, because what this transfer has done, and it always happens, and if you signed for Bradford, there would be some Carlisle fans doing the same. It's brought the worst out in some people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is what, we've talked about this with Elliot Watt. Elliot Watt was, as far as a lot of people were concerned, rightly or wrongly, absolutely nailed on to come from Salford to Stockport at Christmas. And then it didn't happen. the Odin Bailey transfer went through. And then when he announced that he was being released, he wasn't renewing his contract at Salford at the end of the season, everyone kind of expected. And it wasn't like nothing had come from Stockport, nothing official had come from Salford. You know, it was all conjecture, but people get caught up in it and they get like, I don't know, not obsessed with it, but they be fixated on the fact that this player is coming, and it's almost hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's not happening, and you know, arguably it was never happening, it's like a massive drop off and disappointment.
There's just a hell of a lot of people, and look, Bradford fans are a key example because it happens more often with us. They don't know how to control their emotions.
Yeah.
They don't know how to channel it. And, you know, we use Elliot Watt as an example. People think Elliot Watt left Bradford for money. Elliot Watt left Bradford because of the fans.
Yeah.
Hand on heart. And I've had arguments this season with Bradford fans about it and them saying he chased money. And I've replied and said, no, he left because of X, Y, and Z. And the Bradford fans have said that I'm wrong. At the same time, Elliot Watt has quoted me, sent me a private message and gone, they just don't get it. Because they don't. And like Elliot won't mind me saying that. He's open about it. They just don't get what they do. Yesterday, for a Bradford fan to immediately reply to Carlisle and say, I hope you've invested in a defibrillator when they signed Charlie White.
Absolutely disgusting.
But the thing is, we all know here's the thing. When we played them two years ago, before they went up, the season before they went up, we had the minute silence.
Yeah.
And 3 or 4 Carlisle fans interrupted it. First time in 36 years, I think it was, they've been interrupted. Before half time, Carlisle had issued a statement.
Yeah.
It's been 24 hours and Bradford have still said nothing.
Yeah.
We know who the fan is. We know his name. Hannah, I can see his house from here. I don't know which one it is, but I know it's one of those. And we've done nothing. We've done absolutely nothing. And this is the thing. Charlie White is really good friends with a hell of a lot of the Bradford players. Think of the position that puts them in. If I'm a Bradford player, I'm waiting for the club to say it, and if they don't, I'm saying something on social media.
Yeah.
You know, and we talk about this rivalry, and there isn't a rivalry between Bradford and Carlisle. There's some dicks on both sides that are a minority that are trying to turn something into something from nothing. But things like this don't help.
And I don't think it's even a Bradford Carlisle thing. Like
No.
That comment would, I mean, and there were a couple, would have been disgusting and absolutely indefensible, regardless of whether, I mean, it could have been any other fan without that rivalry, and it still would have been.
Oh, we've seen comments just as bad.
Yeah.
Like I've seen comments about me from Doncaster fans this last 12 months that have been just as bad as that stuff. I've seen comments from Bradford fans towards me that have been just as bad. And it's just not, people have got to be better, you know, and it's so often that you look at those accounts that are doing it and you go on and they've got like Be Kind and Mental Health Matters. They're the ones.
I tell you who it could be referred to if the club don't take any action. The EFL have that kind of online safety protecting players task force, don't they? And there's a group that's what they do. They kind of troll social media, kind of looking for comments exactly like that.
But why should it?
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
Why have Bradford done nothing?
Maybe they have. Just
no. But you've got to publicly condemn that immediately. You've got to shut it down. But it's just.
But right, and I'm fully in devil's advocate mode here. So he is a Bradford fan. That's the kind of the only identifying factor to him in terms of and this is not a Bradford player. It's not, I mean, as far as Bradford are concerned, well, it's nothing to do, as in this kind of comment about a Carlisle player is nothing to do with it. Like, I don't know at what point is a club responsible for someone who identifies as a fan's actions?
I don't think it's about taking responsibility for it, because they shouldn't be taking responsibility for it, but they know who it is. They know the person's name.
Yeah.
We know where the person lives. It should be a case of that's not the sort of person we want at our football club.
Yeah.
So therefore, you are not welcome at our football club. Because if it wasn't directed at a footballer, if it was, you know, and this is going down a bit of a wormhole, but, you know, we've done that plenty of times.
Also rabbit hole.
No, it can be a wormhole because wormholes are weird. If it was racially motivated, if it was an attack on a trans person, they would be banned.
Well, yeah, because it's a protected characteristic. And I wonder whether Charlie White's health issues count as a disability, which in turn is a protected characteristic.
I just think it's disgusting. And
oh yeah, I just think it's an interesting
it's
kind of
very
accountability argument. You know, if he, or no, let's not say he, because that would, you know, if, I don't know, Mr. Bradford City XXX on Twitter murders someone, would you expect to see a statement from the club condemning his actions?
If he'd murdered them whilst acting as a fan, like on an away, if he'd gone to an away game,
yeah, fair,
and done it, then you would expect, yeah, this isn't just he's randomly said it to someone. He's replied. If you reply to a club's socials, you are replying on behalf of your fan base at that stage. That's my view anyway. But either way, this isn't the first time this guy's done this, by the way. Not Charlie White.
No, I know. I just think
he's a repeat offender. He's a repeat offender, and yeah, he's done. Last time he got caught, he pretended he'd been hacked, and he said he'd got the police involved, and the people were like, "Okay, share the police crime number." And he's never ever done it because it was him. He basically had a fake account that was abusing. But what he did was he posted a screenshot from his fake account, and in the bottom corner, you could see his other accounts.
Excellent.
So he caught himself out. The other thing, to get it back on to a nice thing, we were talking about transfers, Hannah. Let's get it back onto niceties. Let's not give that dickhead any more airtime. George Ray. Right. I'm not naming names clubs. Because there's no point. I'm not naming names or clubs. But I am calling bullshit that George Ray does not have a club lined up. It's just, he has to. The amount of people within that circle of his and extended circle of his that know something and all know the same thing, there's just got to be. There's just no way. There's just no way.
The only thing that I can think of. So let's just, to give context to this extremely hypothetical situation. You've got an excellent player who played for a fictional club called Baxter, and Baxter have released him, possibly because they can't afford it. His salary doesn't fit in with their budget and all their plans. Around the same time, their manager was also released from his services. I'm
really intrigued I'm not going to spin the rest of this story without
I know.
telling people.
I'm trying to but he. Then you would expect him to be someone that would be picked up immediately because he was brilliant at Backstow, and
the manager there,
right,
Steve Ferrell. Steve Ferrell loved him.
Steve Ferrell. Steve Ferrell did love him, really rated him highly. So he doesn't have a club, and now it's the 1st of July, so I suppose but he's been sitting at home. He is local-ish to where Backstow train, which isn't necessarily where Backstow play. Yeah. And two completely independent, separate people, one of whom is one of these very tenuous links, but very strong links, and is an excellent source, have both linked him with the other club, with a second club. The second club has denied this completely. So there are two scenarios in this hypothetical situation. One is that he was having talks with that other team. Maybe they've announced recently that they've re-signed a player that they maybe weren't expecting to.
Possibly, yeah. Mind you, the player that they've announced, no, it doesn't play the same position.
No. So it's a very an interesting kind of chain of events, and no one involved from either club or from the player has any reason to make any of this up, apart from the normal shenanigans that we sometimes get dragged into around, like hyping up a player in order to get interest from someone else. But no, like one of these sources is so independently virtuous and wouldn't necessarily know that it would come back into us. When all this is done, we'll kind of probably explain all of this.
Well, I'm just going to tell you a funny story connected to it without mentioning. So there's a famous cartoon monkey.
Yes.
Okay. So all I did was send the club a gif of this famous cartoon monkey with some side eyes. I didn't watch the whole gif. So it starts as the really cute cartoon monkey and then turns into a drug addict NFT. I swear. Yeah, and I was like, I just got that question marks, and I was like, oh, I didn't watch the whole thing. And then we went into a conversation about it, and obviously that's when it's come up. And obviously you've spoken as well, and it's like, what's the situation? Maybe it is just someone hyping it up to try and push it. But again, I don't think after what I nearly said the name. Mind you, we started the conversation talking about him.
Oh yeah, we can tell it's George Ray, clearly.
Yeah, George Ray. After what George Ray did at Barrow, I don't think he needs to hype himself up.
No. But equally, one of those sources, there is like, there is not for a second would they get involved in that either. That normally comes from agents, from players, from someone like the second source, potentially, a player's mate that kind of knows how everything works. It's a really weird one. So hopefully he's gonna, but maybe he's been Gillinghamed, maybe he's been Carlisle'd.
And maybe the club just don't want to admit that there was ever a connection there if they've lost out. Maybe so.
And things change as well. Like players come up. There are players who, for personal reasons, want to be in a particular location, and like we talked about, Jack Payne may well compromise on certain things so that they can stay closer to home. George Ray is from Warrington originally. Obviously Barrow train kind of in the Manchester area. So he will geographically be attracted to clubs in that area. But yeah, who knows? Who knows?
Who knows indeed, Hannah.
It's a funny one. But, you know, I fully expect whoever picks him up the fan base should be delighted.
Well, I tweeted out his name, and the amount of fan bases that replied going, is it us? Like, the fact that he's not been announced for a club by now is it's weird.
The fun thing about your naming game, which we've said before on here, is just entirely shithousing / stirring / just for fun. And I played a name association game with myself a week or so ago because I was that bored, and even that caused consternation. Oh, Cal Hendry, that was it. He was, because I think I can't even remember how I'd got to Cal Hendry, but yeah, suddenly then it was some Argentinian Salford fan getting stressed because that was suggesting he was going somewhere else. But, you know, he's another one actually that I wouldn't be surprised to see move on or not. Maybe everything will become clearer.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. All depends on what sort of player someone's looking for. But yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised. Speaking of Jack Payne to Colchester, I think, and I mentioned it before we came on, we may see a reunion with Harry McCurdy. That's what I think. I think
so. He was on loan at Swindon. Is he still at Hibs? Like he's still under contract at Hibs.
Played 2 or 3 days ago. Scored. Put them 3-0 up inside half an hour. Yeah, I think he will. I don't know. I've just got this funny feeling we're going to see a reunion because we know that McCurdy was obviously on their list.
Yeah,
they wanted him last January, just before he had the issues. So yeah, I think we may see a Jack Payne and Harry McCurdy reunion. Which, by the way, if we see a Jack Payne and Harry McCurdy reunion, that's a fucking good, very, very good move.
Harry McCurdy again I've got a thing at the moment about players with personality. Obviously County have signed Courier Dye, which is not something that I've come to terms with it now. It's not something I was immediately happy about, but only because he terrifies me. I mean, I've watched games with you where he's been playing and he scares the bejesus out of me. And I've always thought as an opposition fan, you know, I'm like, get back in your box. As a fan of the team that he plays for, I've always thought that it must be incredibly frustrating. But again, he's a personality, and I think clubs really benefit from that on and off the pitch. You know, that kind of I guess brotherhood and relationships, and you need the Harry McCurdys and Jack Payne. I mean, Jack Payne's loads of fun as well. To bring a team together, and you know the way that Colchester play, the way the Cowleys play. Yeah, I think it'll kind of just bring it all together.
So you mentioned your word association game.
Yeah.
Do you remember how it went?
No, I just remember that I got to Callum Hendry, and then I upset someone, and I was like, this isn't fun anymore.
So you had Callum Hendry. I think, did you have Fraser
Harry
Horse?
Smith. No, Harry
Beautyman.
Beautyman, Harry Beautyman.
Yeah. And then who was it?
I honestly can't remember.
Was it where I came in?
Yeah. I told you to drink because you got it wrong. Like, you didn't realise that I was playing a game with myself because, you know, who would?
What did I say?
I don't know. It was just a very... I mean, maybe we shouldn't talk about the ridiculous things that I do when I'm really, really bored in the off-season.
It was a wrestler, wasn't it?
Yes. But I didn't realise.
It was another Hendry.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I didn't realise.
Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
There you go, Hannah.
Right, so you remember that now because Grant liked it as well. Do you know what I took from that clip? Because I didn't listen to the music, I just saw the video.
Yeah.
And when he was clapping, the 2 claps, that's part of the word association game.
Oh, right? Is it?
So, like, Callum Hendry, Harry Beautyman, Bob Sinclair. Like, yeah.
Joe Hendry.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
That's where my head went to that. I just didn't get it. I thought we were just continuing playing. I'm really not covering myself in glory.
Honestly, that's why I brought it back to that. I had that video there, and I was like, I'm gonna get his name mentioned.
Yeah.
Well, we never thought that's how it would go.
No.
So, kits, Hannah. Kits. I have a theory.
Still, after the submarine one, and other people have agreed with me that it's not just me and my kind of neurodivergence that was bothered by the submarines and the placement. Yeah. Have you seen, I mean, we're not in League Two now. Have you seen the Bristol goalkeeper shirt?
No, Bristol City.
Bristol City. It's a thing of absolute beauty.
Where is it? The circles?
No, it's rainbows. I mean, it might be circles, but I see rainbows.
Definitely circles. Bristol City always do weird kits like that. Last season's was a bus seat. It had feathers on it last year's. Multicolored feathers. Yeah, Bristol have got a very, very... They've got a history of doing that with the goalkeeper kits, which is good because that's what goalkeeper kits used to be, didn't they? I've just sent you the goalkeeper kit from last season. That's what goalkeeper kits used to be.
That's the problem. Like last season, everyone who was in Puma seemed to have that pink one that Ben had. Swindon had it. I got God knows who else, and it felt like every team we played, both goalkeepers would be in the same shirt, which is bonkers, really. But yeah, have you got kits yet?
Yeah. So we had the 2-week drawn out away kit launch, which everyone was unhappy with. As Charlie White wasn't standing in it once it was announced. Then on Thursday night, and I have a theory here. On Thursday night, Bradford posted a teaser for the home kit. And the fans went, absolutely not. No chance. We are not waiting 3 weeks for you to do this again.
Yeah, because last time you were expecting, because it was the bloke in the car and then getting out of the car. It wasn't even a player in the end, was it?
It was. He's a centre back.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But it was. Players. You thought that it was going to be a kit announcement / player announcement, and it would be Charlie White.
So much.
Oh yeah, like
it just makes sense.
I switched Bradford's notifications on for that whole shenanigans. It was a massive anticlimax.
So Thursday night we posted a little spoiler, a little hint of, we're going to do the same with the home kit. And the fans went, absolutely not. No, you're not. Within an hour, the kit leaked. The next day, Bradford just released the kit. Now, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. I've shown you. I think it's incredible for us. Like, it's one of the best we've had in years.
It's classic, but with enough of a twist to make it different and attractive. And because I said to you before I saw it, I can't differentiate between Bradford's kits. They all just look the same to me. Like, I get kind of a blindness. There's claret and there's amber or whatever you call it. And there's normally stripes. Oh, except for saying that, apart from last year's rugby kit.
Yeah. So my theory is that the club leaked that. Because in their announcement, the whole thing about the kit was that the stripes were being painted on. Yeah. Because in the teaser, it had Andy Cook sat and he had like a paintbrush with paint dripping off it. The announcement was something about how paint leaks.
Oh, that's a bit tenuous, isn't it? Does paint leak?
Yeah, from the tin. It said something about the paint leaking out of the tin.
I mean,
so I think they've done it on purpose. Because the picture that did leak, everyone's in the background, by the way.
Yeah, it's a really messy kind of, wasn't it in like a warehouse or something?
Football, it's like it's not a football pitch, side football pitch.
Oh, it's not the photo that I saw then.
What, the one of it hung up?
Yeah, that wasn't on a football pitch, was it?
Yeah, it is. It's indoor. So when it leaked, everyone's in the background behind it. It will be so easy to work out who's taken that photo.
Right.
So easy.
Yeah.
And they've released it, and the fans, it's great. It is nice. So let's just, I think I changed my answer from last week to our kit being the nicest so far.
Have there been any others?
Not that I've really seen. No.
We've got no kits yet. I mean, we're kind of technically still need to. And there's been no leaks yet either. And the colours, like some people have like said, oh, it's definitely orange and black, or it's definitely this. It's like, people are enjoying themselves with the kit shenanigans at the moment. They're looking forward to them. Because last year, I think it was the home kit leaked. Like, someone took a photo of it in a box, but because of the context and the number of people at that point involved in the supply chain, it couldn't actually be tracked to one person. But there's been none of that yet. So no, but we've ordered 25,000 kits. So a few seasons ago, we sold 6,000, and this season we've ordered 25,000.
That's a very, very bold estimation. But MK Dons released theirs, which is essentially just the same as always. Talk about not being able to differentiate our kits. MK Dons, you can't differentiate. Hannah, I'm sending you a picture of, I know you mentioned about Newport signing Michael Spellman.
Yeah.
He's holding up a child's shirt.
It's tiny, that, isn't it?
Yeah. That is a child's shirt that they've got.
How weird!
Really,
maybe
really weird.
Was that last season's though? Maybe they've like literally. No, that's
no, because in the teaser, 20 minutes before it, he's wearing it.
What?
From behind, he's got the shirt on, and then he's holding that up. It's weird. It's really, really, really weird. And I will say, I love Jack Payne to bits. Jack Payne's photo that Colchester have used, he is almost fully morphed into a member of the Towie cast at this stage. I fully expect Jack Payne to show up on The Only Way Is Essex very soon.
Have you seen, well, he could do now, couldn't he? Have you seen, are there any like ridiculous League One, League Two players' haircuts, like when they come back from training and they've had like a summer do?
No, I haven't seen any of that.
Must be a Stockport thing.
Which is why do your guys come back with stupid haircuts?
Will Collar's come back with and I actually there's a side point to this as well, which it's not just Stockport County related. Will Collar's got a very like heavily highlighted frosted tips with a touch of sun in type haircut, and then Louis Barry's gone peroxide, although obviously he's not a Stockport County player. But no, like, do when clubs do the whole like back to training pictures, do your fans, or have you seen this for any other fan base, forensically analyze every photo in case there is someone in the background that has not been announced yet?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So it's not just us.
Yeah.
There were photos yesterday of hands and body, like hands being like bandied around. Like, this is the hand at training. This is the hand of someone we think is signing, next to each other.
Yeah,
Ridiculous
no. We get some of it, not to that degree, not to the degree I saw yours on.
Yeah.
What I will say, Hannah, we don't get players coming back with like stupid hair and stuff like that. But again, I've sent you another picture because I'm sending you a lot this time. We have Andy Cook, who has come back looking like an absolute machine.
He does, yeah.
He looks well, doesn't he?
It's all that all his drive work that he's been doing, his gardening.
Oh yeah, doing his drive work, laying his stones.
That's what it is. It's not. He wasn't doing that to save money. He was doing it to get ripped.
Yeah. So for anyone who's listening, obviously that they won't know, I spoke to Andy just as the season finished, because he sent me a happy birthday video for a friend's little boy, and in it he's topless. He's stood outside. He's doing his thing, and I'm like, Andy, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, doing my driveway. I'm like, you're a professional footballer. I said, just get a man in and get him to do it. He's like, no.
Or a woman, a person.
Oh yeah, you can get a woman in it. Yeah, a person. Whatever they want to. Listen, it can be anything they want to be on the day, Hannah. And he was like, absolutely not. No, doing it myself. I'm like, this professional footballer has done his own. And I'm like, what a guy. This is just he's just a guy. I love it. But he has, guys, go on the page. By the way, there's just an aura to the image of the 5 Bradford players that they did use in the kit with thingy video.
In fairness, though, that picture that you've just sent me of Andy Cook, he looks like a different body type. Like, that's how dramatic
huge change. But I don't think it is as dramatic as it looks. I think that switching from hoop to stripes is a massive thing as well.
Yeah.
Because he's built like a rugby player.
Right. So you think it's almost slim? Yeah, because the way the stripes fall from the shoulders, they kind of take him in, so he loses that like triangle from the shoulders. He looks good.
And Jake Young there looking like an absolute machine also. And then
Jake Young there so that he can be like just cropped out.
I think they put him on end in case we sell him.
Look, there's like a proper gap as well.
It's like the Ashley Cole team photo, isn't it? I'll ask him. I'll say they put you. Did they say, Jake, you stand, Jake, a little bit more to the left. Just keep moving. So they can crop you out if you leave. But the fact that they've put Bobby Point in dead center, we've offered Bobby a new contract. Bobby changed agents, which we can speak about.
Oh, has he? Good for him.
We can speak about it now. Because David Sharp said it publicly at the Bands Forum last week. He said we have offered Bobby a deal. He said, but obviously it becomes more difficult when players change agents, and Bobby has changed agents. So I don't know. I think he'll accept. I think he'll get a better deal than he'd been offered, and that's maybe why he changed agents. He maybe didn't feel like he was getting what he wanted or getting what he should get. Yeah, no, I look, I like that photo. That photo is class. Yeah.
It does look like they're playing with a, minis net though.
Well, yeah, they're at a 5-side pitch.
I know, but it looks like the perspective's bonkers.
Yeah, but Andy Cook, look, you can have your Charlie Wyke. That's a 25 goal plus season.
I think you said this yesterday. What it does mean, is that you haven't got Charlie Wyke and Andy Cook kind of tussling for that role. So, although that can be good from a kind of internal competition point of view.
Yeah,
often brings out the best in players.
Yeah, it can, but I don't feel like Andy Cook's the one that we need to push for that.
Yeah,
he's performed. What I will say is that he's on 70 goals now. Choking there. Got 2 years left on his contract to hit 100 goals. I think he does it this season. If we get a 30-goal Andy Cook season again, we're laughing. Yeah, no, I'm quite excited. So yeah, that's our kit. That's my theory on it. Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. What are you thinking of the Euros, Hannah? Let's move League Two. What do you think of the Euros?
I mean, I am not. We've talked about this. Like, I don't follow the Premier League. I don't know very much about the players at all. So I kind of watch it quite passively. I've watched as many non-England games, I think, as I've watched England games, obviously, because, England's one team and, all the others. But I'll have it on in the background. The number of games that I've actively enjoyed is minimal. I think France, Netherlands, that Italian goal that took them into the next round was insane. But other than that, I mean, yeah. I watched the England games. I went to the pub to watch the England game last week, which is unusual for me. But I don't know. I don't really have an opinion. I went on Fools Rush In on Friday night to talk about musicals. And we talked about England a lot. I was like, I don't really have a strong opinion. I think what you do see with Gareth Southgate, you see with lots of teams in League Two, when you get the managers saying, well, I didn't tell them to do that. That's on them. They're just kind of behaving how they should, but that's also on him. And we said this about Challoner last year. Like, if they're not doing what you're telling them to do, then that's still a you problem.
Then you've lost them at that stage. If they're not listening to you, then there's a massive, massive issue. Yeah.
So no, Lewis Fiorini, who's been announced for County today, he's besties apparently with Cole Palmer. So we've got Odin Bailey and Jude Bellingham, and so basically, Stockport, we're like England adjacent.
Shite.
I mean, like, honestly, right? If success is measured in progression in tournaments and winning games, where's your problem?
Because we got to the final in the last Euros and didn't get to the final in the tournament after that. And we've looked like scraping out of the group stage in this one.
But we have not. We're still in it. I worry about Switzerland. Honestly.
I worry about Switzerland. Yeah, just in general.
I mean, to get as close as we did to going out on Sunday is obviously not a good spot to be in. But yeah, I'm going to Chester on Saturday because we're playing Chester.
And then first game?
Yeah. I'm either watching it in the pub in Chester or coming back and watching it. So yeah, I'll get swept up in it all, but I just don't have the same level of kind of emotional involvement in it as I do. I mean, I was quite big for Slovenia yesterday. Got quite emotionally involved.
I did on that one. That was just because I wanted to see Ronaldo cry
again.
Yeah. Well, other than that, not much else has happened. What I will say is Barrow have just posted pictures from their training. They're no longer training at FC United.
Oh, gutted. They're playing FC United on I think it's the 13th. And me and my dad, we County are playing Oldham that day.
I can go. I wasn't able to go because we were playing Scunny.
Oh yeah, of course.
I can go now. So
I may County and Oldham instead. But no, while we've been
at Oldham, it is at Oldham, isn't it? Oh,
yeah,
I can get in. I can get in at Oldham in director's box.
Take me with you.
Me and Frank.
Yeah. So no one has announced anyone else while we've been talking. So.
No, I've been keeping an eye on it. No, quiet day. Cheltenham have announced that Rob Street has left to go to Lincoln.
Okay.
But aside from that, quiet day. Quiet day so far, but we'll see what happens in the afternoon. It's Friday. Yeah. Maybe there'll be something to excite people for the weekend. We haven't announced a player in a long time now, Hannah.
Oh, your time's coming, I'm sure. What I would say to anyone who is listening, on the @Lower League Look account on Twitter, I think we've said this before, we certainly talked about it on the League one. You can follow our lists. So the Sky Bet League 2 list will give you kind of all the updates. So 2 minutes ago, Bromley announced their kind of hospitality against AFC Wimbledon. Port Vale a warning that their pre-season friendly against Leek Town will be academy players. Crew have got their kids for a quid scheme, where £1 a game, kids aged 11 and under can watch Crew. And then Carlisle posting about Charlie Wyke. So it's really useful to just scan through if you're looking for like what's happened in the last day or so. The League 2 page on BBC News is also incredibly good. That gets updated quite quickly.
Yeah.
With new signings and interviews and announcements and things. And then the other really good one is football web pages, which you can look at league kind of updates or by club updates. The news is a bit, especially the league news isn't so great, but the club news is very good. It's almost like I guess they just aggregate news from all over. But if you're looking for transfers and kind of any other information, then that one's really good as well. They're the kind of three that I use most, I think.
So I've just clicked the Port Vale thing about the academy players.
Yeah.
Have you seen Port Vale's pre-season? So they need to announce what's happening in the first two games. So they've announced that the third game against Leek Town will be made up of academy players. But they're also playing Newcastle Town this Friday night and then Kidsgrove Athletic on Saturday.
And that's Newcastle not upon Tyne. It's Newcastle our way. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of those games is going to be kids because they're playing Friday night and Saturday. So they're playing Newcastle Town, Kidsgrove Athletic, Leek Town, Bath City. They're then playing a Luton Town 11, which is going to be a Luton Town team made up because it says Luton Town 11. You know immediately that that's going to be their academy and things.
Yeah.
Before they play Bolton, they've got one real pre-season game.
How funny!
That's mad.
So also that might be because Bolton normally, well, they play us often pre-season, but it's normally behind closed doors. So it might be that they're like looking for a substitution. You see that Salford are playing Everton.
I have seen that Salford are playing Everton. That will be quite good to go and watch.
So we've played them pre-season before, but again, it's been behind closed doors. And they're who we've got in the BDSM trophy.
The bondage trophy.
What's it called? Under 21s. So, yeah.
Well, look. Other than that, Hannah, it's been fun. We've done an hour, which I didn't think we were going to get an hour out of this.
No,
because not much is happening. But you guys are recording. Are you recording League One tonight?
I don't know. Harry's ignoring me, so
Harry, sort your shit out. You guys are recording League One at some stage.
Some point.
That will be interesting to listen to, and I do think that we should possibly have a 606 this week.
Oh, crikey. What? On pre-season?
Yeah. What do you think? We said we'd do it, didn't we? What do you think your pre-season so far? Where do you think you'll finish? And then we'll obviously the one that we do at the transfer deadline day space that we always do, we can say then, have you changed your mind?
Yeah.
I'll make notes, or you can make notes. Whoever we'll speak to them this week, write down names, where they think they'll finish, what they think they still need to do, and then we'll compare it. But I think, this Sunday, should we do a 606?
Yep.
I'm down for that. I think it'd be fun.
Nice. Let's do it.
Other than that, what have we covered tonight? We've covered
what? Because you've got to write the description up.
Yeah, we've covered transfers. We've covered kits. We've covered pre-season friendlies. We've covered
social media abuse of players.
Social media abuse of players. Now it's not right.
Don't do it.
And we also spoke about Joe Hendry.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.